Alright, I'm going to have a quick overview video, kind of first look at these EMAX OpenIPC parts here. It's not going to be in depth, and I'm going to have little snippets of videos coming out on the second channel over a period of time as I do some tests here and there. I'm not going to do any latency testing. I don't know why people are so hung up on latency testing on beta products that they're never going to fly or use, so it doesn't really make any sense to me to do that kind of testing. This is kind of a preview look at what OpenIPC is and what we should expect going forward, and also maybe what your expectations should be for something like this going forward. So that's what fundamentally this is going to be about, the series of videos on all this OpenIPC stuff here. I am going to try and fly this one here, the micro one from EMAX. They sent two different sets. So there's the micro one here for 100 milliwatt transmission and 100 milliwatt receiving. I'm going to stick this in the Tiny Hawk Freestyle 2.5 inch micro. You'll see that in a later video. They also sent this 2 watt receiver. So I'm a little confused, and maybe I'll ask EMAX to respond down in the comments as to some of these questions I have, so that you guys can see all the responses. But so they have 100 milliwatts here, and then they have a 2 watt receiver with a 800 milliwatt transmitter. So I'm not really sure what that's all about, because if you saw the RunCam video, and I'll link that down in the video description, their transmitter had like a big heatsink. It was also 800 milliwatts and a fan, whereas their transmitter, also 800 milliwatts, doesn't have that. It's just a no heatsink at all. It looks like the same board, as you can see here, but obviously they've gone to the trouble of soldering on a daughter board or an adapter board for these connections instead of directly soldering to this board, which I think is the correct thing to do. As you can see, they soldered it here so that you can properly mount this, but there's no heatsink on here at all and no fan. But the receiver, as you can see, is really big. This is a 2 watt receiver. I've never seen a receiver with like power ratings on it before, so this is very fundamentally bizarre. I think there's a fan inside here, and this one, the 100 milliwatt one, is a lot smaller, and it doesn't seem like it has a fan here. So again, these are alpha parts. Most of you, the vast majority of you, are never going to see these. They made a very limited number of these as an initial run for testers like me, just to show you guys what the potential of the system is. So doing like these deep dive latency tests and things that are mainly for, like, you know, production level, mass produced products that the general public's going to use are kind of pointless for these kind of parts, because you guys are never going to see this stuff. So, you know, that's why it's more to get, this is more to show you what the potential of this system is and get feedback from you guys as to what your expectations are for it going forward. That's what you should be thinking about, not latency and like, oh, can I replace my DJI 03 or HD0 with this tomorrow? And the answer to that is a flat out no. Any of the currently produced, you know, mass market products are fundamentally better than this right now from a consumer standpoint. There's a lot of things that need to be done before what you see here is going to be packaged into a product that you can buy that is going to be pretty useful and comparable to like a HD0 or a Walk Snail or a DJI 03. So with that out of the way, let's go ahead and show you all this stuff. So I showed you the receivers. EMAX has done they've taken their time on this. Obviously, I was kind of wondering why they were taking so long. I think RunCam kind of rushed their product out just so they can get people to buy things. You know, you saw how the boards were just held on by 2 screws on one side, which is just kind of weird, and you can just tell that they rushed it. This is a little bit more polished. Obviously, we're looking at like 3D printed parts here still. They're going with like this kind of weird antenna setup here. I think omnidirectional and some sort of patch on the receiver side. And they both have, I think, a similar setup. So you have like power through an XD30, or USB-C, and same over here. And then your data connection also comes on the side here, USB-C, and they did provide to me a on-the-go adapter plus a USB-C cable, plus they sent along an Android phone. This is an old phone, actually. This is, what is this? The Oppo Find X. This is actually older than the Pixel 2 that I put in my RunCam video that people are like, well, why are you using old stuff like that? Well, that's what I have on hand. This is actually older, but it's got a better Snapdragon processor. So this has the 845, and my Google Pixel 2 has an 835. So the 845 is a little bit faster. I'm not sure how much more faster, but the EMAX did say that their latency testing in-house was in the 30 to 40 millisecond range, I believe is what they said, which is comparable to like DJI first generation. And so if they say that it's adequate to fly, then I'm going to go ahead and try and fly it. That's why I'm going to install it here, and I'm going to fly it. I'm going to send it. We'll see what happens. You know, if it crashes and burns, well, you get to see what happens. So those are the receivers. And so obviously the phone will be plugged into here. You'll see the output on the phone. We'll show you all this a little bit later, probably in a later video. The system still has this Ethernet port. So this one here plugs into the camera board, I believe. So this is, they're using I think this is a 19 millimeter camera, EMAX 415 chipset, and MIPI cable. And this is the camera board. OpenIPC, it's got an SD card on there. Well, you know, there's some similarities to the way the RunCam setup is. Of course, it's got the Star chipset on there. That's the same one. Of course, I'm not sure if this is a whoop style mounting or not. Let me see here. I don't know what that is. So this is this one here. This is the micro board. This is a whoop style, 25 by 25. This is a little bit wider, but then this one here on the transmitter is actually bigger than this, I think. Let's see. Yeah, let's see if I can line this up. Very weird. All right, I need to measure this. So this is 30 millimeters. This is a 30 by 30 board. Obviously, they have 4 holes. You know, kudos to them for that. But then, you know, I think because this Wi-Fi board here, the transmitter board, is almost 30 by 30. They want, you know, if they want to put 4 mounting holes in there, they put a PCB that's actually got more than 30 by 30 in terms of its mounting holes. It's almost 35. It's 35 by 35. So that's another reason why you haven't seen me fly the RunCam yet, is I haven't been able to find something to mount it in. I'm gonna have to jerry-rig something for this as well. But yeah, so you have the fundamentally same sort of setup here. You got a camera, you got a processing board here for the video, and then the transmitter unit here. But no heatsink, no fan. Kind of strange. And then the Ethernet port, which I didn't really cover in the RunCam video, is for connecting to the camera board, and then you can adjust your settings that way via Linux commands. Again, not really consumer friendly. Here's the 100 milliwatt receiver. Again, they have an Ethernet board for this whoop board, but then this is all in one board, which is really nice. So the camera board and the transmitter board are all in a single PCB, or actually there's 2 PCBs like basically stuck together. And this is a whoop mounting 25 by 25 millimeters. And this is going to, this is running off of 5 volts, I believe. So it's 100 milliwatts max power, and it's got the 14 millimeter nano camera. I believe it's the same chipset, the EMAX 415. So this is really promising. This is kind of like what I'm looking for, because I like to fly micros. You'll see this first, actually, because this I can mount. I know, because I can replace the, I can do a direct swap out of the HD0 board that's in here. It's the exact same size and dimensions, and same for the camera. I can just swap that out and solder this in there, and I'm off and running. So you'll see this first, and let me just show you quickly what this weighs. I'm sure everyone's curious. So this is just the micro system here, 12 grams. So yes, this is what we're looking for. And then of course this other setup here is going to be for, you know, your bigger drones, 5-inch, you know, 28.3 grams, you know, pretty typical for a 5-inch. That should be fine for a 5-inch. But that is it. That's all I'm going to cover for this video. Leave your comments and questions down below. What do you want to see going forward? What kind of tests, other than latency testing? Because there's no point in doing that. You know, it doesn't. This stuff's going to change. So we're curious to see what the potential of the system is beyond just raw numbers of latency, because it's just stuff you do on the bench, and latency testing is, in my opinion, pretty useless. I would rather prefer to do real world testing, and that's what I would like to see down in the comments. So let me know. Talk to you later.